Senator Murray-Smith.
Thank you, President. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed so much about our lives. It's changed the way that we buy products and the way that we access services. We've seen an enormous growth in deliveries. Australia Post has been delivering more than 10 million parcels each week. And we've also seen incredible growth on the use of platform-based services like Uber and Amazon. When consumers change their patterns of behaviour to respond to an event like this, businesses adapt their business models to meet demand. And in South Australia, we've seen businesses adapt, from cafes and restaurants across the state pivoting to takeaway services during lockdowns, to fitness and education venues using video technologies to continue their classes from home. But in this adaptation, in this change, not everyone has been better off, because some of the global businesses benefiting most from these changes have some of the worst industrial conditions of all. Track records as employers that have failed workers, that is, if they even acknowledge an employment relationship at all. Indeed, some have been out in front championing the rapid growth of insecure work, meaning more and more Australians join those without economic security, without job security, unable to plan for their families and for their futures. Our desire for convenience, as reasonable as that desire is, cannot be at any cost anymore. And the consequences of convenience cannot be without scrutiny anymore, because we know some of these global companies have been world leaders in abusing corporate power around the world. The union representing warehouse workers, the SDA, has raised the alarm on some of this behaviour, including on the appalling track record on safety standards and working conditions at Amazon. There have been reports of workers raising serious health and safety concerns, the imposition of picking quotas unattainable without inhuman effort, of surveillance of workers. And it doesn't stop at warehousing. Amazon is continuing to ramp up its expansion into Australia, and the TWU has raised particular concerns with the introduction of its package delivery service Flex. With Flex, drivers use their own vehicle to pick up packages from Amazon warehouses and distribute them to customers. It's been introduced in major cities around Australia, and it looks set to come to my home of Adelaide soon. And because workers are using their own vehicles, there's no provision for expenses like fuel, insurance, parking costs or maintenance. This new model of work shifts all the burden of insecurity and uncertainty onto workers. Workers are responsible for sourcing and maintaining their work equipment, and too often find it near impossible to access basic workplace protections, hard-fought-for workplace protections in our country. The cost of convenience, if allowed to continue without appropriate regulation or scrutiny, is simply becoming too high. And that's exactly what the Make Amazon Pay campaign seeks to address, highlighting and fighting back against failures in providing decent, secure and safe work around the world. It is a campaign supported by over 70 organisations, including unions, non-government organisations, civil society and environmental groups, who have come together to raise their voice. Mr. President, during the pandemic, the problems with insecure work were made crystal clear. We cannot forget the lessons we learned. Insecure work means people are forced to put up turning up to their work over their own health and sometimes the health of their community. It can make it extraordinarily difficult to cope with changing circumstances, impossible to plan for the future. Because while insecure and casual work is too often irregular and unpredictable, we know that costs in life aren't. Costs like your mortgage, costs like your bills, your children's need for food and clothes, whether or not you get work, whether or not you have shifts. Labor knows this. That's why we'll make job security an objective of the Fair Work Act. We'll restore the proper definition of casual employment and criminalise wage theft once and for all. Australia's industrial relations system and working conditions have long been the envy of the world, fought for over a century through the blood, sweat and tears of workers and unions. The Americanisation of our workplaces and conservative undermining of our industrial system will undo that remarkable history if unchecked, and we must fight it with the same strength and unity as those who came before. In this fight and on this day, I am so proud to stand with mighty unions like the SDA and the TWU and all of the workers that they represent.
Senator